Alright, guys, I gotta be honest. I did a story about this yesterday, and I actually didn't even really read the article. I just saw what was going on, and it made me pretty upset. Now, after reading the article, I um, I just feel like I need to delve into this a little bit. There's a little information that I would like any Americans out there, all of you who are super crazy critical of this thing in Oregon, need to know some stuff here. And those of you guys who aren't, who actually support this thing, y'all need to be aware of this as well, because this is getting pretty serious. Now, as you can see here, this Tea Party activist, a Trump supporter, Jerry DeLemus, was arrested. Okay? Once again, we talk about all the time about Marines, veterans being targeted and being arrested by the federal government. Once again, we've got another Marine right here who got arrested over this Bundy Ranch thing from a couple of years ago. So, you can add Jerry DeLemus to Pete Santilli, Skylar Barbeau, and a whole long list of other military veterans who now sit in prison. All right, but this is what not even just that alone. There's some very telling stuff in this article that people need to be aware of. And this is how deep this thing goes. All right, I want you now keep in mind, this man, just like everybody else, got 9 charges, including conspiracy to commit an offense against the U.S. threatening obstruction. Okay? This is him right here. There's a little picture of him. It's not coming up real good. I'll leave a link to these things. He's a New Hampshire Tea Party activist. Once again, we've told you they're going after the Tea Party, too, who had previously made trips to Nevada to take part in the Bundy Ranch standoff and the federal forestry building seizure in Oregon 2 months ago, according to reports. Now, they're saying he was a mid-level leader and organizer of the conspiracy who, among other things, recruited, organized, trained, and provided logistical support to gunmen and other followers, and organized and led armed patrols and security checkpoints. Now check this out, because now it's getting real. This is where the American public who isn't in support of this thing needs to understand how serious what I'm about to say is. And you need to take this to heart. Okay? According to Jack Kimball, the former chairman of the New Hampshire GOP, the former chairman of the New Hampshire Republican Party, according to him, the New Hampshire state representative, Susan DeLemus, Republican from Rochester, New Hampshire, is Jerry's wife. She called the former head of the New Hampshire Republican Party and said they had taken custody of her husband. She said the FBI just rolled up with lots of vehicles and agents who were in tactical gear. They forced their way into Jerry DeLemus and Sue's condo with weapons drawn and arrested Jerry and took him away. Kimball said he believed the custody was connected to the Bundy Ranch incidents and asked for all New Hampshire patriots to come together ASAP to protest this tyranny in the most visible way possible. A good and patriotic Marine is now being prosecuted for standing up for liberty, he noted. And of course, the U.S. Department of Justice has not returned any calls. So do you understand how big this is now, America? This isn't just a bunch of rednecks with guns. I've said this repeatedly. And what you in America need to understand, whether you like it or not, part of what makes this nation great is the right to bear arms. And the right to bear arms does not make you armed and dangerous. It makes you someone who expresses the Second Amendment. In both standoffs in Oregon and in Nevada, the only people who fired guns at all was the federal government. The Founding Fathers actually put this in the Constitution, specifically for the citizens to be able to protect themselves from the government. And both times, people brought guns to protect themselves from the government, who did, in fact, bring full tactical gear. Now, you've got the federal government in full tactical gear busting into a state representative's house, into their condo with guns, and forcing her husband out. Is there anyone in America who actually believes that Susan DeLemus is going to be married to a man who's actually going to go out of his way to do something against the law? That's going to commit a conspiracy against the United States government? Because if you do, you've lost your mind. Anybody in office who would be married to somebody who is intentionally trying to take out the American government wouldn't have a very long career. But there's plenty of people in the government who keep telling you that something is wrong. The Supreme Court told you when they ruled against the EPA trying to shut down 90% of America's coal-powered energy plants, that they wanted to dispel the rumor that everything the government does is lawful just because they are the federal government. Right? That was a Supreme Court. Now you've got a state representative getting her home invaded by feds in full tactical gear, escorting out her husband, who's doing a peaceful protest, and now he's going to prison for a conspiracy against the United States. People have the right to assemble, and they have the right to bear arms. It wasn't like these people went over and took over a post office. They were in a bird refuge in the middle of nowhere, and even the sheriff of Burns, Oregon himself said these people were not a threat. And I was going to go over here, but I don't even need to provide the link. Let's not forget they're also arresting Joseph O'Shaughnessy, who's a retired firefighter. All right? So you've got law enforcement, firefighters, and state representatives all tied into this thing now. Do you understand how serious this is getting? You keep sitting around and thinking it's a bunch of rednecks and you're going to be woken up to a rude awakening. It seems to me that if the federal government has the balls to bust into a state representative's condominium in full tactical gear and come yank her husband out, how safe do you think anybody in this country should feel? Does that not strike anybody as absolutely insane? They're continually showing, once again, nobody's off limits. Nobody. The federal government seems heir apparent, and it seems almost unquestionable now. They are not going to stop until they start a civil war. And if you want to sit around and keep waiting for the next election and hope it turns out good, well, good luck with that, because they're making it clear we ain't got time for all that. I don't know what to tell you, America. This is real. This is about as real as it gets. And if you don't understand the federal government going after the families of its own people, and you don't understand that there's a problem with that, something is wrong. So I just want to make y'all aware. This is how serious it's gotten. Okay, this just blows my mind. Now you've got the ex-head of the Republican Party calling for all patriots. So are we going to call the ex-head of the Republican Party of New Hampshire another redneck gun-toting hillbilly like Ammon Bundy and Pete Santilli and all these people who are sitting in jail for crimes against the U.S. government? Is that what you're going to tell me? Should we just throw Jerry's wife, Republican from Rochester, should we throw her in jail too? Huh? Should we throw her in with the rest of the gun-toting rednecks that everybody wants to call them? Y'all need to wake up. This is getting real serious. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Y'all need to spread the word on this because this is a big deal. They're showing nobody's off limits now. And if you can't see that, then you're going to wake up to a rude awakening, folks. I promise you. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk to y'all soon. Y'all take care.